Hello, this is Sandy with a little bit of glitter, and today I have a fun summer card featuring Lawn Fawn's new treat cart. I took a little bit of liberty with the little friends from this stamp set and added swimsuits to them, and I just think they are so cute. Anyway, go ahead and hit subscribe if you'd like to be notified of future videos. You can follow me on Instagram at Sandy Cogdill or on my blog, A Little Bit of Glitter. Let's get started. I felt like I needed a lot of room for this card, so I'm going to put it on a slimline card base. So I'm going to start with the background. I wanted to do a sandy base, so I'm going to take some mint low-tack tape and just kind of tear off a top edge, which I'm going to use as a mask for my sand. I'm going to set aside that thin piece that I just tore off, and I will use that a little bit later to mask off the top edge of my sand so that I can put in my water. I'm going to go ahead and place that low-tack tape maybe about an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter up from the bottom of the card base. I am a really messy inker, so I'm going to use some Post-it note pieces and place those above where I've just laid down my low-tack tape and cover up that top part of my slimline card, just because I know I'm going to get ink all over the place. So once I get those placed, then I'm going to go ahead and start inking that bottom piece. I'm going to use Tea-Dye Distress Oxide ink, and I will just place a nice layer of that along the bottom edge of my slimline card. Now I'm going to take some Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink and just lightly go across the top of that tape just to give that sand just a little bit of definition. Then I'm going to water down a little bit of that and just kind of spatter that across that sand just to give it a little bit of dimension and a little bit of interest. Now I'm going to take that piece of tape that I tore off initially from that piece of low-tack tape, and I'm going to lay it down on top of the sand that I just inked. I'm going to go ahead and put that all the way across the top. I'm leaving just a little bit of sand showing. That way when I ink my water, I'm not going to have a little white line there. I just want those to blend together. I will also put my Post-it notes down below just because, again, I'm kind of a messy inker. I tend to get carried away and I don't pay attention to what I'm doing. Lawn Fawn doesn't have a slimline wave or ocean wave stencil, so I'm going to go ahead and just tape together their ocean stencil. I'm sure there's other manufacturers that have a slimline stencil, but if I were to start buying slimline stencils and investing money in all of that stuff, there just isn't enough money in the world. So I'm going to make do with what I've got. I'm going to go ahead and lay that down. I'm going to use, what am I going to use? Salvage Patina for this first color on my waves. And then I'm going to go back in with Mermaid Lagoon just to give a little bit of darkness on the top edge of those waves. So now that I think about it, I probably should have used the darker color for the base of the wave and the lighter color at the top of the wave, just because that's probably how it would really be. But as a girl from Colorado, I could probably count on one hand how many times I've actually been to the ocean, so I guess you're just going to have to bear with me. Leaving my ocean wave makeshift stencil in place, I'm going to use my slimline cloudy stencil and start laying in some clouds with tumbled glass distress oxide. I'll just go ahead and lay those in lightly all the way down my card until I get to my waves, and then I kind of just blend in a little bit of tumbled glass just to kind of create a little bit of a horizon. In retrospect, I wish I would have done my clouds a little bit darker, but it is what it is. It's just fine. Once I'm done laying in those clouds, I will water down a little bit of the tumbled glass Distress Oxide ink and spatter that whole area just to give it a little bit more interest. This is actually my favorite part, to peel off everything and see how my background came out. I've cut out a number of palm trees using algae cardstock and paper bag cardstock. The dyes that I've used are palm trees and hammock and trees. I'm going to use Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink, and I'm going to go around the edges of the palm tree trunks. And then on the palm fronds, I'm going to use Rustic Wilderness. I pretty much always go around all my die cuts with some color of Distress Oxide ink. I just think it softens the edges and it gives everything, it just kind of takes down the harshness of that die cut just a little bit. Sometimes you can't really even see that ink, but the eye seems to pick it up. It just softens things. Now it's time to start putting everything together. So I'm going to start with my palm trees. I'm going to place them, at least a couple, on the outsides on each side. I always wait to put on the palm fronds until I'm ready to start placing them. That way I can kind of angle them the way I want them to go. I also am waiting because I wanted to put the little banners connecting the little palm trees also. So I've already colored my little friends. I just, for the sake of time in the video, I didn't want to go ahead and videotape that also. I used Copic markers to color those in, and the colors that I used for the fox were Y23, Y24, Y27, and Y32. For the bear, I used E21, E23, and E25. The squirrel is E31, E33, E35. The rabbit is E51, E53, and E55. Other colors that I used are C5, C3, Y04, Y06, and Y08. I've used BG000, BG10, and BG13, Y19, YR04, YR07, R20, R21, and R22. The little squirrel is not from Treat Cart. She's from Let's Go Nuts. And the stamping on the little treat cart, the word cool, is actually from the stamp collection Snow Cool. I also cut out a bench from the Build a Greenhouse. It is the perfect size to put a little sundae on. So that's the sundae that I had the little squirrel eating. So I mentioned in the beginning of the video that I put little swimsuits on all of my little characters. And how I did that was I just kind of penciled in where I thought they were going to go. And then I went back in once I was happy with what I had done. I went back in with a micro permanent marker and just drew in those lines, and then I colored up to them. I just think they turned out so cute. They just crack me up every time I look at them. I really like the little ice cream cone that I put on the squirrel swimsuit. That one really makes me smile. As you can see, it takes me a long time to figure out where all the pieces are going to go and how they're all going to fit in. And for heaven's sakes, I really have an oasis of palm trees going here now. I wish I would have done my background, especially the clouds, just a little bit bolder because you almost can't see them at this point. But oh well, live and learn. I did wind up popping all of the pieces except for the palm trees and the little banners hanging in the palm trees, just because I felt like the card really needed a little bit of dimension at this point. All right, looks like all we have to do now is just trim off those little palm tree fronds that are just extending off the edge of the card. And then we will get that adhered to a slimline card base, and we are good to go. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you already haven't. You can follow me on Instagram at Sandy Cogdell or on my blog, A Little Bit of Glitter. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a fantastic summer. Bye-bye.